he was born, he had the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck and it had a knot in it. So I don't know if that had anything to do with with autism, but we'll be back. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, April 2nd. Welcome all my new subscribers. Y'all is all love over here. And thank y'all for coming back again to see me. This me, is that you? And
I've been to myself, just me lately. I don't need a lot. Yeah. I've been to myself, just me lately. I don't need a lot. No. Just me and the fam, few friends ain't playing. I don't speak a lot, and I can't stop. And I can't stop.
my slogan is only to say I'm being who I really am, but are you who you really are? Be you. Be you. Nobody else can be you. Be you. Anyway, y'all, so I told y'all I was going to do the autism every day. We're going to talk about autism. So yesterday I just did like a little introduction, but I did it yesterday, but I was only able to post it today because I fell asleep before it got finished. But it's all well and good. But what I want to talk about today is, so I got pregnant in 99. I had my son in 2000. So I wanted to talk about my pregnancy, and so I've been on blood pressure medication for a very long time. I had my daughter, my oldest daughter, in high school, and when I went for my visits, my blood pressure was high. Even then, it would be like 130 over 80, over 90, and I looked on it. I had a chart that I had gotten from the senior citizens. They give out these senior citizens things, and for my age, that was high. So your blood pressure, the standard for a certain age is a certain amount, and I'm gonna insert that here for you to see. So anyway, yeah, it was high. So I've been taking blood pressure medicine a long time, with both my daughters, and because they gave it to me. I don't think they gave it to me with my daughter though, but by the time I had my second daughter, I was on blood pressure medication, and I was also on it with my son. That was the only medication I was taking. So yeah, so that happened. So I was on blood pressure medication. I was in basically good health. I was, when I got pregnant with my son, I was working full-time at Kmart, but I was also going to school, and I was a full-time student at that time because I was trying to go ahead and get finished. So if you don't know, I started off at Grambling when I graduated, but I ended up leaving Grambling and pregnant with my second daughter, came back home, and went to work. So I'm trying to give you a little background about me to put everything in perspective. I went to work as a substitute teacher, then I got hired on at Kmart, and I worked there in that location, and then when that location moved, I got promoted to HR, and I stayed there until that store closed in 2000. Well, June 2000 is when I had my son, but the doctor took me off work in maybe April because my blood pressure was high and I had preeclampsia. So he took me off work. So I had that as well. I went full term. They went ahead and induced me because my blood pressure was becoming elevated each time I would go for my, you know how you start going for your checkups every week when you're at your 8th month. So I started going every week. My blood pressure was elevated, and I think they probably thought I was getting preeclampsia or toxemia or something. When I had my older, should I say older because I only had 2 daughters, so I'm comparing 2. Oldest child, older daughter, because oldest would be 3 people. Older would be 2, comparing 2. Anyway, so after I had her, my blood pressure stayed elevated, so I stayed in the hospital. After I stayed in the hospital probably a whole week. My daughter was able to come home, but I didn't want her to go home without me, and so they kept her in the. She probably was the longest staying child at that time in the regular nursery. But anyway, yeah. So I'm just trying to give a little backstory, so you'll have something to compare it to. Okay, so then when I had my second daughter, they induced 2. And after I didn't have any complications with her at all. I don't think my blood pressure was high. I don't know if I was on medication with her or not. I wasn't on medication then, but my blood pressure was good. Everything. I had my daughter, they did I was induced. I had her, and 2 days later I was home. So like I said, when I had my son, they induced, but every time I would have contractions, I would feel like a tugging inside. It just didn't feel right. And then when I had contractions, his heart rate would stop. And so they stopped inducing. They stopped the induction. Is that I don't know the correct terminology. But anyway, so he said, look, he said, every time, he said, when you have contractions, the heart rate drops. And so we're going to have to do a C-section in the morning. So they scheduled it for that morning. Now that I think about it, being older and wiser, which I was in my 30s when I had my son, but y'all, I didn't have not a one ultrasound with my son. I don't know why. I had hospitalization on my job. I had Blue Cross, Aetna, somebody we had good insurance. But anyway, never had an ultrasound. But guess what? When my son was born, and I didn't pursue this, but I know now. The doctor I had was a very good doctor, but I don't know why he didn't do an ultrasound, because I started going to my appointments early and everything. But y'all, and maybe at that time they didn't do them as much, but my son, when he was born, I'm going to tell y'all this, and I'm going to have to continue this story. But when he was born, he had the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck, and it had a knot in it. So I don't know if that had anything to do with with autism, but we'll be back. I'm going to go ahead and finish the story when I come back. Have a blessed day, y'all. Hey guys, unfortunately I was unable to come back and finish recording when I got off on Tuesday. So this is going to be day 2, Autism Awareness. I'm actually a day behind. And so on the last day of April, on the first day of May, I'll do the last day of April. So remember, I told y'all I work a full-time job. So sometimes it's hard for me to get through, but I am going to finish this. It may be a little behind.
I feel the love. I feel it growing every day. I feel the love. I feel the love. I hope it's never